So today we're going deep on the Berlin Wall. But we're not just talking like bricks and mortar, you know?
Right.
We're really trying to use this YouTube video to look at how the wall evolved over time. And more importantly, how it affected people's lives.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, we think about the Berlin Wall as the symbol of division.
Right.
But, it really begins with this period of actually relatively free movement.
Okay.
So, after World War II, Berlin was a divided city, obviously.
Right.
But people could move between East and West Berlin relatively easily.
Yeah, so it's almost like two worlds in the same place.
Exactly.
And the video talks about this idea of outdoing each other.
Yeah.
Both sides trying to prove that their system was better.
Exactly. You had, West Berlin with the Kurfürstendamm, which was this, vibrant showcase of, Western consumerism.
Oh, yeah.
And then in East Berlin, you had Stalin Alley, this big grand boulevard trying to, embody socialist ideals.
Yeah.
So it was this cultural competition playing out in the architecture and everyday life.
Okay, so we have this divided city, but people can move around.
Yeah.
But then when does the wall actually go up?
So the wall goes up overnight.
Really?
Literally, August 13, 1961.
Wow.
Imagine waking up one morning
Yeah.
and your city's physically divided families are separated.
Oh.
Your daily life is completely disrupted.
Yeah.
The video really captures that shock and the immediate impact on people.
Wow, overnight. That's intense.
Yeah.
So why, though?
Well,
I mean, the video mentions this official reason given by East Germany.
right. They claim it was to protect themselves from Western influence, but, let's be honest.
Yeah.
The main reason was to stop people from fleeing to the West.
To keep control.
Yeah, to maintain control.
Yeah, that makes sense, sadly.
Yeah.
The video shows how, crude the initial construction was.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't what we think of today.
No, in the beginning, it was really just about a quick fix.
Right.
Barbed wire fences, makeshift barricades. There were even gaps initially.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't that imposing concrete structure that we imagine today.
So did people just, accept that?
Well, so the video highlights how the wall's construction really immediately triggered all these escape attempts.
Makes sense.
And one story that really stands out is Peter Fechter,
Yeah.
this young man who was desperate to reunite with his sister in West Berlin.
Yeah, his story was heartbreaking.
It is.
He found this house that was actually part of the wall,
Right.
but it had an open window.
Yeah.
What happened next is just awful.
Yeah, so he and a friend tried to escape through that window.
Right.
But under, the watchful eye of the border guards,
Of course.
it all went wrong.
Yeah.
His friend made it,
Oh, wow.
but Peter was shot while he was climbing over the wall,
Oh, no.
and he fell back into the death strip, that no man's land between the barriers.
Right.
And he lay there bleeding for almost an hour.
It's just a reminder of what people were willing to risk for freedom.
Absolutely.
And also the brutal consequences.
Yeah, and his death was captured on film.
I remember that from the video.
Yeah, and witnessed by a lot of people, and it really became this focal point of outrage
Yeah.
and a catalyst for the wall evolving.
So they started making changes.
Yeah, each escape attempt exposed these vulnerabilities that the East German authorities would then try to address.
Right.
So it led to these constant upgrades and fortifications.
Like an arms race almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was like an arms race, each escape attempt prompting new security measures.
So as the wall got more sophisticated, the escape methods had to get more creative too.
Exactly. It was this constant back and forth
Wow.
between those seeking freedom and those trying to control it.
Yeah, it makes you think about the psychological impact of
Yeah.
living with this ever-present barrier.
Yeah.
Did it just create fear or did it also fuel resistance?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely oppressive,
Right.
but it also sparked these acts of incredible courage and creativity. It's almost like the restrictions themselves fueled this desire to push boundaries and find ways to overcome them.
That's so interesting how something meant to restrict freedom could actually inspire that.
Right.
So walk me through those upgrades. How did the wall actually change?
So the video shows how these initial crude barriers were gradually replaced with a multi-layered system of defenses,
Okay.
making it harder and harder to get across.
So it wasn't just one wall.
No, it was layers.
How did it look like?
So first you had what they called Stalin's grass.
What?
These mats of steel spikes hidden in the ground,
Oh, wow.
designed to injure anyone trying to cross.
Okay, so already super dangerous.
Yeah. And then you had a signal fence rigged with alarms.
Oh, wow.
So if you touched it, it would alert the guards.
Okay.
And then beyond the signal fence lay the infamous death strip,
The deaths.
this wide open space
Right.
patrolled by armed guards with shoot-to-kill orders.
It's crazy to think about people trying to get through that.
It was incredibly dangerous.
And then finally you have the actual concrete wall.
Yeah, the wall we all picture.
Right.
But what's interesting is that smooth concrete surface.
Right.
It wasn't just about making it hard to climb.
Right.
There's a psychological element, too.
And what do you mean?
Well, by hiding the full extent of the fortifications
Right.
behind this smooth, seemingly impenetrable facade,
Yeah.
they aim to create this sense of hopelessness.
Oh, wow.
Like, don't even try it. Escape is impossible.
Wow. So they were trying to break people's spirits before they even tried.
Exactly.
But even with all of that, people still found ways.
They did. And in a strange twist, the wall itself became this canvas for protest and expression.
Really?
Yeah, the smooth concrete on the western side,
Right.
which was visible from West Berlin.
Okay.
It became this magnet for graffiti artists.
Oh, wow.
So this symbol of oppression became this platform for free speech.
That's incredible. Even with all that control, art and protest still found a way.
It did.
But the Berlin Wall, as we'll see, was just one part of this much bigger story.
That's right. The Berlin Wall was the most visible symbol, but it was only a small section of a much larger fortified border
Oh, wow.
that stretched for hundreds of miles,
Really?
separating East and West Germany.
So the wall wasn't just a Berlin thing?
No, this division extended across the whole country.
Wow.
And as we'll see, those stories of resilience and ingenuity weren't limited to Berlin either.
Okay.
People were finding ways to challenge this larger barrier with incredible creativity and determination.
Are there any stories of successful escapes from that border that really show this?
Oh, there are so many.
Yeah,
Each with its own incredible story of courage and resourcefulness.
I bet.
But one that stands out that's featured in this video is the story of Günter Wetzel and Peter Strelzig. These two friends who decided to escape using a hot air balloon.
Wait, a hot air balloon?
Well, a hot air balloon.
Like they built one themselves.
They did.
It flew over.
They spent months secretly gathering materials and constructing this balloon
Wow.
in their living room.
No way.
Yeah, they even had to teach themselves how ballooning works,
Really?
all while avoiding the Stasis, the East German secret police.
So this wasn't just like a spur of the moment thing?
Oh, no, this was carefully planned.
What happened when they took off?
They lifted off with their families,
Oh.
soaring over the border.
Wow.
But then shortly after, a tear appeared in the balloon's fabric,
A tear?
A tear.
While they were up in the air?
thousands of feet in the air.
Oh my God.
It was a near disaster.
Wow.
They managed to control the descent enough to avoid a terrible crash,
Okay.
but they landed in a field unsure if they were in East or West Germany. But luckily for them, they'd landed just inside West Germany.
They had escaped.
They had escaped.
Wow, what a story.
It is.
It shows how far people were willing to go,
Absolutely.
the risk they were willing to take for freedom. So we've seen how the wall evolved, how it impacted lives in Berlin and across Germany,
Yeah.
how it inspired incredible acts of courage and creativity.
It did.
But what about the bigger picture?
Right.
What was the significance of the Berlin Wall in like the whole Cold War?
Well, the Berlin Wall was more than just a physical barrier.
Right.
It was a symbol of this ideological conflict
Okay.
between East and West communism and capitalism.
Right.
It became a focal point in the Cold War propaganda war,
Oh, wow.
with both sides using it to their advantage.
What do you mean by propaganda war?
Well, the West portrayed the wall as a symbol of communist oppression,
Okay.
like a monument to the denial of basic human rights.
Right.
You know, images of people risking their lives to escape to the West were broadcast all over the world,
Yeah.
really highlighting the failures of the communist system.
So the wall became this visual symbol of like the West's critique of communism.
Exactly. And on the other side, the East German government tried to justify the wall
Right.
as necessary to protect themselves from Western aggression and ideological contamination.
Interesting.
Yeah, they portrayed the West as decadent and morally corrupt.
Wow.
And the wall is a shield against those influences.
So both sides were kind of using the wall to push their own narratives.
Exactly, to shape public perception of the Cold War.
It's interesting how this structure could be such a powerful tool in this ideological battle.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's a reminder that the Cold War wasn't just about military might.
Yeah.
It was also about winning hearts and minds.
Right.
The Berlin Wall became a key battleground in that struggle. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep breaking down those walls.